Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So as I'm recording this, I clearly do not know if this is going to be a long video, if it's going to be a short video, or if it's going to be a moderate video, because it's a serious video, and it's a video on a current event. Donald Trump being convicted, thus said being the first convicted U.S. president in American history. Big deal, right? And the thing he was convicted over was bull. BS. It's true. What crime did Trump commit? We just talked about it yesterday. Oh, he was convicted on a hush money thing with Stormy Daniels. Wow. Well, sure, I bet you Bill Clinton getting impeached over Monica, what's her name, having that affair with her, that secretary of his during when he was president. I'm sure that Mr. Bill Clinton paid a lot of money to meet a lot of women. Let's be honest. And I've mentioned it in previous videos. If you want to dig up dirt on someone, sure, maybe Donald Trump's the best person for Democrats to pick dirt on. But if the Democrats wanted to, they could find thousands of felonies that Bill Clinton committed. But because Bill Clinton has a D by his name, he's not going to get a slap on the wrist. And plus, he's already done. He's not the president anymore. Why should we be concerned? That's what they will tell us. But it looks like most Americans are not dumb, because the media and CNN thinks we're dumb. They think we're dumb. They think, oh, Donald Trump is convicted. They don't expect us to say, why was he convicted? Really? Sane, normal people will ask that. What was he convicted of? You're not supposed to ask that question when you just need to know he's convicted, and you must be really, really angry at him. Seriously. Reason? Like, we know why he was indicted, and we know why he was convicted in the first place. He was running for president, and he was a threat to the Democrat agenda. Yes, they used the Stormy Daniels hush money case as a leverage, but they also used this bull of a case that Donald Trump misused assets or business records while running his business in New York. Well, let's go back to the Daily Show. Who's the Daily Show host? I'm going to look it up. Daily Show host. Because he's also Trump deranged. Joe Stewart. He looks familiar. Yes, Jon Stewart. Excuse me. Jon Stewart. A Democrat. But he's somewhat of a moderate, they tell us. And he's like, oh, Trump's not nice. Trump and Republicans are not nice. And then he goes and tells Fox News to go F itself. Oh, that's not nice, John. That's not nice, John. He goes and talks about kindness, and he goes and tells Fox News and his criticizers to go F itself. Or in put it more blunt words, go kill yourself. Go commit suicide. So we can, if we wanted to, we can pull the liberal media trick and say, oh, Jon Stewart calls his critics to go kill themselves. Jon Stewart is trying to tell people that they don't matter. Jon Stewart's trying to tell people to go commit suicide and spread suicide. Oh, this is what the Republicans could do, but they're not, right? Jon Stewart said something that could be taken out of line really quickly. And notice that the Democrats aren't doing anything about it, because as long as Jon Stewart has a D by his name, he's fine. He's innocent. He could do whatever he wants. He might get a slap on the wrist and it might run some headlines, but people aren't going to frown on him, and he's going to continue being a successful person. We won't hurt you that much. This is the screwed up reality of the Democratic Party. So taking a look at this, Jon Stewart, I mentioned Jon Stewart. I bring you up because he also purchased a mansion or a yacht. I don't know what it was. And he fell into the same situation Trump did with his business records. He ended up paying the bank up. Wait. Well, we are still waiting for that case. Mr. Jon Stewart to turn himself in and confess himself and saying, oh, and would I support that? No, I wouldn't, because that's not free America. That isn't freedom. I don't like that, because American business owners should not have that pressure of paying the bank back right away, right? They should have the right to kind of, okay, I'm going to pay the bank when I can, and Trump did. Trump paid the bank back. But the Democrats, especially in Manhattan, can alter things around. They don't even have to find a legitimate reason to indict Trump. Donald Trump is indicted for being a businessman, for doing business things. And that is what they did. He was ultimately convicted, which is higher than indicted, which is ultimately going to get more of a reaction. So far, it's positive, because in a span of 10 hours, Donald Trump reaches $34.8 million. 34 is an iconic number, guys, because that is supposedly the number that Trump ultimately was indicted or convicted of. The amount of felonies, 34 felonies or 35. The liberals know more than we do, right? So it's so coincidental, right? I don't think so. I think we know it's wrong. Insane people can admit it. There are so many people, independents, moderates, Susan Collins, out of all people, the most Trump deranged person, one of the most Trump deranged. She's probably the most liberal Republican. She condemned the verdict. She said, hey, this was unconstitutional. We know who Susan Collins is. Woke U.S. Senator who was a Republican from Maine. Democrats love this girl. Democrats keep re-electing this lady in a landslide in Maine every 6 years. And out of the blue, Susan Margaret Collins walks out and says, yeah, she goes and tears up this conviction. She criticizes it. This is unconstitutional. It is. Even the Trump verdict critics are criticizing it too. I heard Mitt Romney's criticizing it. Guess what? Trump critics are criticizing it. When you know the Trump critics are going after it, you know that it's bull. I'm telling you, you know it's bull. I tell you, when this keeps going on, the Democrats are going to join in. Because it's going downhill for Biden now. Because I don't know what you did. You probably just killed one of the mama bear's cubs. And now you have a big, giant, angry bear chasing after you. And that bear is not going to stop until I don't want to say the word, but until you're destroyed, right? I was going to say mutilated, but if I said the word mutilated, then Democrats will say, oh, I'm calling for violence. You see how they play the game? Minnesota, North Star Nutshell, North Star Politics. I have so many channels. North Star Politics or North Star Elections is calling for the mutilation of his opponents. No. That's cope talk. Cope harder. Cope harder. And speaking of cope, we're gonna talk about some coping, because George Conway is one of those Looney Tune CNN reporters that you see that Merc. He is obviously in a bad mood, and he's not going to have it with his colleague, Scott Jennings. And he's going to explode in tears. No, he doesn't really cry, but he's in a rage fit. Can't even have an appropriate debate with John Jennings. And John Jennings, very respectful man. And this guy is criticizing his own panel, his own colleagues for letting him on the show. Wow. This is a 7-year-old. Let's take a look at George Conway basically throwing a hissy fit about Trump gaining $35 million in 10 hours.
Well, I disagree with a number of things George said, of course. I mean, he's talking about these obvious crimes that were committed. He's talking about the obvious crimes that were supposedly committed, but that's the core of what a lot of decidedly non-MAGA Republicans are mad about, is that there is no underlying crime. I looked at the statement from Maine Senator Susan Collins, who I think encapsulated it.
Look at him. Look, he can't even move his twitch. He can't even keep his mouth straight. He has to twitch his mouth. He has to twitch his little swimpy neck. Look at him. He's in a massive realm, a dark realm of cope.
She said this was a partisan prosecutor who promised to get Trump. Nonsense. And that's what he did. Not promise
nonsense, he says.
But he promised to go after Donald Trump. And so the issue is here, what is the crime? He's never been indicted for or convicted of the campaign finance theory at the core of this case.
He's about to lose it.
Republicans are wondering today.
The sparks are set. Here we go.
What do you have to do to build a defense against something you've never been convicted of in the first place? I'll tell you, the mood in the party, if you're sort of looking for a generalized attitude, reminds me a little bit.
Look at him. Look at him. He's like, look at all these CNN. She's a little bent, but she's not twitching. Look at her. Look at this guy. This is a 7-year-old. He's so intense. He's so wanting to do it, to jump in and beat this guy down, put him in place, and he's going to, but he's going to make a massive fool of himself. Look at this guy here. He's keeping it cool. We can tell from his expression, he's like, I don't know about you, but he's being respectful. This guy, of course, we can tell he's not really happy. We know reactions.
About the Kavanaugh period. You go back to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, 2018. I remember that period being the MAGA people were mad, the non-MAGA, the anti-Trump, the pro-Trump, every wing of the party was vibratingly angry about what was being done to Kavanaugh. I feel and sense that the same thing is happening today, which is why I think you're probably going to see this backfire politically on the Democrats, and they're going to regret it.
And it is! It is! And he knows it is! Look at him! He knows it is! He's probably just got a notification. JK, they would never do that. His mainstream liberal media phone, big tech phone, would never do that. He would never do that. Absolutely not. So, in order to keep the Democrat Party up and alive, it's going to be fine. He has to go into defense mode and tear this guy down as a conspiratist. Denying reality, but no Georgie George. Big fat pill. I don't know what you are. I don't know what to call you. No insult could describe your childish behavior right now. Here we go.
George, I will say, I have heard from some people who really don't want to see Trump get elected in the Republican Party.
And this is when he loses it, because now she's going to go, not taking his side, but she does saying, okay, he does have a point. But she's ultimately going to him and saying, how are you going to take this down? Well, George Conway says, I'm going to literally take you down and throw you word insults. He throws a tantrum. Instead of using rational facts, and I'll tell you, Democrats have no rational facts. regards to this Trump case. The fact of the matter is they indicted Trump for no reason. That's the fact. No reason at all. He'll go on to defend himself, but when he goes and corrects him, he's just going to throw insults and throw a hissy fit, to the point where fellow CNN moderators have to calm him down and tell him to stop crying like a child.
Are concerned that this particular case is just going to drive additional enthusiasm for the former president. I'm interested in you respond to that, and you got your face in your hands. What do you got to say to Scott?
Obviously.
I have to say, look, Scott's lying, and that's the problem with the Republican Party. It is continually addicted to lies.
Wait a minute. What am I lying
You're
about?
lying. You're lying.
Here we go. Look at him. Look at it. He could have just stood there with his mouth closed and let Scott embarrass himself from interrupting. But no. He takes the bait.
Lying, Scott.
Like an idiot.
Lying about the law. You're lying about what the jury was charged to find.
Really? The jury okay, whatever.
Don't have to find an
Continue.
underlying crime. They had to find the intent to cover up an underlying crime, and the underlying crime was pretty obvious.
What was the crime?
You ran for public office, Scott. You ran for public office, Scott. You know you can't take money from somebody and reimburse them for.
Look at his face. It's twitching like he's about to smack him in the face. Stay away from this guy.
As if it's a campaign
I've never run.
You could pull the liberal media right now and say, "Oh, he's threatening." Like, we can obviously tell your face is about to. You just want to punch someone in the face, mister. If we were the liberal media, we would definitely call you inciting violence on live television. That's what Charles Barkley did, because Charles Barkley threatened to, if he ever saw a black person wearing his mugshot, he would literally smack him in the face on live television on his live show. And what happened? He got applauded for it. You see, this is hypocritical. The Democrats love violence, but they just don't like it when it comes to their opponents. When it comes to their opponents, they condemn it. And they go on and on and on and on and makes them look good. But if Democrats do it, they'll applaud them. They'll applaud the Democrats, but then they'll stop talking about it, because they know if they talk about it more, it's about to get word, and it's going to surface up, and the sun's going to shine on it, and it's going to be exposed. So let's continue old Georgie George melting down.
Damn well, and you. Okay, fine. Well,
Pardon the language.
Involved in politics to know that. Okay, so that's the problem with the Republican Party, is that they are suffused with lies. I don't know why this network is paying Scott to say.
Look at that, insulting her network. Oh, then this is when CNN jumps in.
Whoa, okay, let's not go there, George, please. Please, let's not go there.
No,
okay?
we should go.
And he totally says, "Oh, let's go and verbal assault poor Scott Jennings because he disagrees with me. Let's verbal assault and go after him because he disagrees with me. Let's act like 7-year-olds." Thankfully, this moderator is sane, is insane, but not as insane as him. She goes, "Okay, no, we probably shouldn't."
That is our colleague, and we're going to treat him respectfully as such. Continue.
Thank you. As we should with everyone. But yeah, we are not going to watch the rest. This video is going wrong as enough. But you get what I'm saying. The polls remain the same. Donald Trump's going to win in 2024. I don't care. As how much reasons the trolls on this channel like to give. Trump's going to win. We have so many reasons why the case. Now, I don't know if he can win if he's thrown in a jail cell, but there's so many people, including Red Eagle Politics and Greg Foreman, that say he totally will. People say I'm totally biased about Trump, to the fact that I think he would win almost everything. As someone who used to hate Trump, in case you didn't know, I used to be a Trump hater. in my youth, and criticized Donald Trump. Didn't like Donald Trump at all. That's not true. In fact, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about Donald Trump today. I don't like his personality. I like how he stirs up a crowd, though. And I like the unity he brings us. And I like the things he does for this country. Unifying the country, great economy, great military, foreign policy. Okay? I may not like how Donald Trump behaves and some such. My opinion. But I ultimately came to the pro-Trump surface when I realized the unlogical hate towards Trump. A lot of this stuff he was hated about was none of his control. And put it lightly, Donald Trump's being hated for on a amount of issues. A lot of people, the pro-feminist mob, hates Trump because they beated their candidate in 2016. They beated the nominee that represented women for the first time. And this narcissistic group of women that are so entitled, they go into a frantic fit on, oh, how dare you take down our nominee? That's sexist of you. And this is, now we get into Donald Trump being a sexist, being abusing women. We dig up all these alleged claims. None of them are true. None of them have been confirmed. But in the media, they are confirmed. That's in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff land, where everything in fantasy land for Democrats comes true. There you go. Right? And yeah, it's concerning and disturbing, and still is, that a justice system that has once went after minorities, like the Democrats love to remind us, and still does go after minorities. They tell us the justice system still goes after black people and still goes after Hispanic people. Okay. Then you are opening up to the possibility that the justice system's going after Trump. Because what you're saying is the justice system can be corrupt. No. It was totally fair. Blah, blah. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Because you got, I don't know, you got jury members probably identify as they, them, and he, she, or it, they, the, whatever they identify as, probably have blue hair, walking around. They probably support Free Palestine. The judge has his daughter who donates to Joe Biden. And the judge is the one that said, zip. Can't talk about it, Trump. You're limited on your speech. You can't go anywhere, Trump. You can't campaign, Trump. And he goes and phones Biden. This is your chance, Joe. This is all to benefit Biden. But will it? No. No, because when Joe Biden celebrates, he makes it even worse. Because usually when your political opponent gets caught up in a scandal, you would address it. But you wouldn't cheer on for it. Because what that tells you is that you're obviously celebrating your opponent's purgement. You're obviously celebrating and exposing your hate towards your opponent. You're celebrating the fact that your opponent is in a state of distress, in a crisis. That's not love. That's not American. So Biden screwed himself again. Let him celebrate. Let him throw Hunter Biden crack party in his basement. Whatever. No one's going to show up. The they people from Washington, D.C. can show up, spit crack all over they want in the basement. Whatever. But let them do that. But that's also going to hurt Biden. Expect that. Biden could have a little bump in the polls, but guess what? Guess what? Continuous polling. Latest 2024 polls. I want a chart. I want a chart. Are we not going to have a chart? Okay. We are not going to have a chart, but that's fine. Saturday, June 1st. 2 polls dropped for Trump. Amazing. Now, supposedly, these these are not presidential election polls. These are just latest polls. We want Trump versus Biden. Here we go. Yes. Yeah. Biden's climbing up the mountain. That's because, once again, more people are hereby deciding, making up their mind. The undecided margin is dropping. That said, we could get Trump up to 50%, Biden to 49%. That would conclude that there would be 0 people undecided. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because there's always going to be someone who's going to be don't want to use clueless because a lot of people will say that's an insult. That just rightfully don't know because this is an election, a confusing election. And I don't blame them for being confused because the state-funded liberal media, totalitarian media, tells them who they should vote for. And if they don't vote for them, then you are the most evilest person in the world. You are a sympathizer to the insurrection. That's what they will tell you. Don't let them do that. Don't let them do that to you. Americans, don't. The media is supposed to be a source to tell you the news, to tell you what's going on in the world, so you can form your own opinion about it. Instead, in the last 20 years later, we have the news to tell us what to think. No! To be honest with you, I don't think we should have. I think Fox News should be center. I think all news media should be center. That would be fair. Quite fair. And then we have independent, conservative, independent, progressive stations and talk shows. Don't plague our sources because we need neutral sources so we can actually know what is true and what is fake. So, and that's probably a reason why Trump isn't getting hurt with these convictions or in these indictments. Because it's, once again, boy that cried wolf. This, like, the 69th time. Oh, it might be true, but you cried it so much that a lot of people, a vast amount of people don't believe you. Like, hey, honey, did you hear Orange Man said this today? Of course he did, honey. That's what they keep telling us. But I don't know if he's actually... I don't know. I'm confused. This is all they're thinking. Like, who cares? Who cares? Orange Man did this today. Jury found Orange Man did this. And plus, they're not even looking up the jury. We have more stuff to worry about. And who knows? Half of the American population isn't even into politics. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.